The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today we're interviewing Anna Tirolese, who is a member of our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, but she is amazing. She has been making beautiful changes in her life, and her story that she shares in today's podcast, I know is going to impact you like it impacted me. She was literally on the verge of dying. She'd had cancer, multiple issues and stresses, and so much going on. Plus, she and her husband both lost their final living parent at the same time. And so they inherited so much stuff. So she was literally drowning in piles while also struggling physically with her health. And she has come out of it, made beautiful changes. And I have to just share what she had posted in our Facebook group. She said, "I don't have the words to express my gratitude for this program." And while this isn't a commercial for STEP, this is just what she was saying. So whether you're a member of STEP or not, I hope that you'll love this podcast. But she said this: "I love how it is helping me set up the basics needed to move forward with my life. I love how well it integrates with other programs like Fly Lady, KonMari, GTD, etc. As I go through the program and have a question or issue, it is addressed in the next step or module. It is like April and Eric are in my brain. I'm loving the journey." Thank you. She was so enthusiastic and was sharing so many positive insights and all of her progress inside of our Facebook group that I just messaged her and said, "Hey, Anna, can I interview you on our podcast?" Partly because, yes, I want people to see the power that the STEP program has and what building a command central will do for you. But also, I want you to be able to feel how Anna moves forward. She makes things happen. She doesn't play the victim. She moves in the direction of her dreams, and literally you're going to hear about her dreams. And I hope that as you listen to her, you'll focus on your dreams and your excitement as well. Can you tell I'm recording this in the car right now? Thank you for being with us here at Learn, Do, Become. If you want to check out the show notes page, go to learndobecome.com/episode 54, so episode 54. And if you want to learn about our 25,000 Command Central Challenge, this is a movement, come to learndobecome.com/step25K. So step 25K. So happy you are with us, and let's go ahead and jump into the interview with Anna. Thank you so much for joining us today, Anna. We're thrilled to have you here.
Well, thank you, April. I am exactly thrilled and honored and, just beside myself.
You're so awesome. Okay, well, basically I was telling Anna before we jumped on, I just want to highlight her. I want to highlight you because you have been doing some amazing things inside of our group and in your life. And I know that whether people are part of our Steps to Everyday Productivity program or whether they're just here at Learn, Do, Become, just hearing your story and what's working for you will be awesome. So maybe let's just start and go back in time, just even a few months ago, or hear a little bit about your history. Tell me what brought you to us here at Learn, Do, Become.
I'm in my late 50s. So I have been trying to get organized. Now, I love organizing the organizing, but I hate doing the actual organizing.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you.
Totally.
So I've got to-do lists and all kinds of paths and stuff. And I have tried app after app after app. The problem is they weren't the right fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
I needed something that would work with my brain. And I did read David Allen's GTD several times. Love the method. I would get stuck about halfway through and couldn't figure my way out of it. And what I love about the STEP program is that you use a similar method to that, but you actually break it down so that I can understand each step as I go along. And that's all spoke to me. And that's why I'm still here and why I'm being active, because it actually makes sense to my very confused brain. Ever since I was a very young child, I've I have all kinds of ideas. I want to do all kinds of things, but there's too much and I can't seem to focus on one. And over the years, I've been working on that. Today is a sorted out day, which basically means declutter day.
Okay.
So that I'm using that as to finish off my command center,
Yay!
which I'm working on. Yes, I am so excited. I have so many plans for once that is up and going to get all my projects under control and moved forward. And not just my work projects, but my home projects as well.
Well, and I want to actually dive into that a little bit more. Can you tell me what was happening beforehand? Because I can tell you're ambitious, you have lots of ideas, you've got energy, you have so much to offer, and you're really creative. And so you're thinking, okay, I've got all these things I can do. So your problem isn't that you don't see a vision of what you can do. It sounds like maybe it was, and you're saying there was overwhelm, but maybe can you take us a little deeper into that? What would happen on a typical day where you would be wanting to work on something, and then what was holding you back?
I do get anxiety paralysis. Sometimes there's just way too much to go. Now, part of my problem is my place is overflowing with stuff. Mm-hmm. I had postpartum depression way back about 29 years ago, and my place started to fall apart. I couldn't deal with anything. I did find Fly Lady, and that really helped. And she was amazing, and she helped me get through things, and she made it okay for me to do my artwork and still have dishes in the sink or whatever. It was fine. So I started doing that. I started to declutter a little bit at a time. And just as things were getting really under control, both my in-laws passed away, and we inherited all their stuff.
Oh, okay.
And my husband is very sentimental, so it was hard to get rid of things. So we had a house that was full of stuff. Mm-hmm. A few years later, we decided to move to an apartment. Now we have a storage unit full of stuff and an apartment full of stuff. As of May 2017, I've had 11 surgical procedures.
Oh, my goodness.
I went and I had the breast cancer and my gallbladder removed the same day, the tumor and the gallbladder. One session of chemotherapy. It aggravated my diverticulitis, which I didn't know I had. I ended up in the hospital nearly dead, and I was in there for months. It was horrible.
Oh, my goodness.
What I discovered was once the breast cancer and the gallbladder were gone, all of a sudden this fog that had been in my brain was gone too, which meant my body had been poisoning me for years without me realizing it, and which is why I was always sick and I couldn't do anything and I never had any energy. And I let go of my businesses. I used to have a graphic design business. I got all this energy. So I'm going to get back into art. I've already had some previous customers from my graphic design business call me up and say, could you do a few things for us? I've got all this energy now. And now I'm also, this is a terrible thing to say, but because I was so close to death, I started thinking, we have a lot of stuff in here. And if I and my husband were to die, tomorrow, which hopefully is not going to happen, but my son would have a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
And I thought it's time to go through and just KonMari everything,
Yes.
Just go through and get rid of stuff and just keep the stuff we really love and that we use and that we need. And this, therefore, when my husband and I pass away, it would be horrible for my son, but it won't be as bad as having to, maybe get a dumpster and just dump things willy-nilly and possibly, get rid of some really good treasures,
Yes, yes.
Because it becomes too overwhelming. So that is actually what was happening in my life when I found you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So your story, oh my goodness, I don't know how many people can relate to that level because you had a lot of physical stuff that came on to you. Actually things in your house that came to you. And then you had physical, your body with the cancer, and you went through chemotherapy and you're going through all this. So you're in the middle of that, but you have all this energy now because you're feeling better after you got all the surgeries. Okay. You're the first person in our group who's made a little graphic design explaining how everything in your head is now getting under control. It was so cute.
Well, this is it because that's what my brain is like. It's constantly on the go and it constantly has ideas and I want to do this and I want to do that. And then all of a sudden, I can't do anything because I don't know which direction to go in.
Yes, and that was the exact same place I was in where when I had children, I'm like, okay, I can't even focus for 3 minutes anymore without someone needing me. What's changed for you? What are maybe, and I know you're still kind of in the middle of implementing all of this and you're building the command central today, but what has already started changing for you just that's brought out all this awesome enthusiasm you've been sharing inside the group?
Well, I started in the STEP program module 1, and I did the whole email to zero thing, which I found extremely easy. I don't know why, but I had tried it before, but this is the first time it actually worked, and It's still sticking.
Awesome.
And I think it's because the way you and Eric have broken down the steps into nice little bite-sized pieces that I can go through one at a time. And if I don't understand, I go back. If I'm really stuck, I go to the group and I say, hey, I'm stuck here. And they're very supportive there.
Yeah.
And that is what's really changed is I've got that enthusiasm because I can see where it's going. I did skim through the rest of it. I didn't go through it, step by step. I just sort of quickly skimmed through the rest of it just so I have an idea of where we're going. And I'm back. And I am right now between module 2 and 3, only because I'm still clearing off space for a physical command center. But once that command central is up, that it will be where I will have all my papers and everything, and my computers and everything else, so that I know where those things are. I like the fact that nothing gets lost, that there's a place for all the ideas, for all the support material, for and I like the weekly review. I've done 3 now.
Yay!
And yeah, I know. And I go through it and I look through the whole list and I see, okay, you know what? I really, that was a good idea 2 weeks ago, but now I think about it, I don't want it anymore. Out it goes. And then I move things to their places, like, if it's coming up soon or if it needs to go on a next actions list, maybe it's a phone call I need to make. I have my office area is in the kitchen. And when I used to walk in there and I'd look at my office area and it was just piled with stuff. I don't know. In the 2 years I was in the hospital, back and forth, things just got piled on there. Like anything you didn't know what to do, you just stuck it on there.
Yeah.
And I would walk in there and I was overwhelmed. And then what I did was I broke it down as what's the next step? I can't do this until I do that. Well, I can't do that until I do this other thing. So I use Rocketbook notebooks because you can erase them and use them over again.
Yeah.
And I made this huge list of all the different steps, and then I put them in order, and then I stuck them in Asana.
Yes.
In the right order. And basically what I do is I have it on my phone and on my computer, and I just go in and I go, okay, the next step is I need to clear that one little thing in the corner. Click, off it goes, And I just followed that and just kept following it, and it made it not so overwhelming. And I think that really helped. And I plan to do that with the rest of the apartment. Yeah. I'm starting there. I'm really sticking with the steps and the command center and that. And then once I've got all that set up, that some of my other projects will be, clear the living room or clear the dining room. I'll probably do it more like Fly Lady at that point, where I'll have zones. And then I'll go through that. And then eventually, I may end up, putting all the clothing on the bed and then, all the books and all those things. I may end up doing that later, but that's not an urgent priority now. Right now, the thing is I want to get most of the stuff out. Anything that's I was finding receipts from 2004. I don't even need them for taxes. So...
and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but then part of it's like it's not funny because you think, you know what? It's been taking up space mentally for you just every time you've seen the pile, right?
I've always wanted to get organized. I mean, that has been something on my mind for years. I just hadn't found the system that spoke to me. I would find bits and pieces of different systems that would speak to me, but I hadn't found one that pulled it all together. And for some reason, I feel that you get me. I don't know. There's something, when I watch your videos and I hear and I'll be thinking something and then you'll say it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
I'm so happy. Well, I'm so happy that you found this, but I'm thrilled at how you're pulling things together that you learned in the past, and now you're implementing it more now because of what you're learning in STEP. Because I agree, like I love Fly Lady. She totally helped me to be able to just get my cleaning routines in place and wrap my brain around that. I love the KonMari method. I've totally used it. I don't always fold my clothes exactly the way that she does, but I love the concept. I like Spark Joy, and I've used that with my kids, and it's helped them. And I love David Allen, the things I learned, but I still had stress, and I'm not good at dealing with stress. Like when I feel like my brain is all over the place, I don't function well at all. And some people do. Some people are fine. They're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm in piles, but I'm okay. Just enjoy life, seize the day, whatever. I'm not like that. It sounds like you understand that.
I understand that completely. And as an artist, I'm in the free spirit, the overgrown hippie. But at the same time, I need to have some sort of order. And the other thing, too, is all my life, I've been waiting for the right time. It's never the right time, And the thing is, there is no right time. And it's only recently that I discovered this. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, I have to make sure my son knows this because he can't be spending his whole life waiting. Things will never be just right. The thing is, I'm just jumping in there and I'm just doing it. And if it's not perfect, well, at least I tried.
I love how you just said that because, that really resonated with me, and I'm sure it resonates with pretty much everyone out there, that all of us feel like we're waiting for something, waiting until we're retired, waiting until the kids leave the house, waiting until whatever, to be able to actually live our purpose or enjoy our lives. And what I'm noticing from you, and what inspires me so much, is that you're taking action every day. You're out there learning, you're reading, you're exploring, you're trying things out. And, if something doesn't work the first time, you don't just give up. Like, I love how you said, hey, if I don't get something, I read on a little bit more, or I go to the group and I ask, hey, here's where I'm stuck. And when there's thousands of people around you who know how to help you and who are there to help you, I think that really does a lot. Anything else you'd say on that?
I love how they just jump in and you have a question. I've jumped in too a few times with helping people out too, because everybody is so friendly and there's no judgment. Nobody's like, oh, shame on you because you can't get this. I think most of us have been at some point or other. I think we can all relate to each other. We may not all be at the same stages, and maybe not everybody has as many piles as other people, but we all get it to some point, and everybody's very friendly in that group, and I love that. Because I almost did it without the support, and then I thought, nope, I can't do that because I'm the type of person that needs to occasionally go in there and say, I'm stuck, or say good for you to somebody else, because that's just the personality I have. I'm
You're an encourager.
I'm an encourager. I'm a nurturer, but I also need that encouragement and the sense of community.
Tell me what you see as your vision for the next few months. What is it that excites you, that you're working on right now, where you feel like this is this future you're walking into?
What I see the Command Central set up and used on a daily basis. I'm going to move my computer to there so that I've got a space to work on my businesses that is like the business office. Right now it's in the living room, and my husband, a sweetheart, is retired. Okay. And I have to wear a hat that says "Do not disturb" when I need to concentrate.
Do you literally have a hat that says that?
I literally have a hat that says "Do not disturb." I'll photograph it and put it in the group.
I totally want to see that. Eric and I can use that for each other since we work from home. That's so awesome.
We want to move out of the apartment because I really would like to have even a small house. That I have a room where I can do teaching, where I can teach my art to people. So I don't want to move everything that's in here.
Okay. So that's a big incentive for you, because once that's all clear, you'd think, oh, I could move. And we've had a lot of people in our group who have. That's awesome. Yeah.
And this is important because right now, if I were to hire somebody to come in and help me move, it probably costs me like 3 or 4 times more than it would cost if I had like just a normal size amount of stuff.
No, it's so true. And the emotional cost even of you trying to figure out what to box and where it's going to land, especially if you're moving into a house and you want to start fresh.
We don't want a big place. It's just my husband and myself. Yeah. My husband's very musical. He plays a most amazing fingerstyle guitar. He is just brilliant. And he started taking up the trombone, which is an instrument he's never played before, and he needs a place to practice. So if we have a house, we want it to have at least a space for him and his music and stuff, and a space for my art, and possibly I can bring in students. I used to teach art years ago, and I haven't done it for a while, so I think that'd be fun again.
That's awesome.
And I want to ramp up the direct selling businesses because the products I really love and want to share. And I want to have a place where I can do my work because I'm one of these people that I will never retire. Like I'm not.
Yeah, we are
too. Not saying, I may have take vacations or something, but it's not going to be like I have to do something. I just can't sit in front of the television eating bonbons all day. I just cannot.
There's too much awesome stuff out there.
It doesn't even go on until the evening after supper, and
that's awesome.
And we watch streamed stuff that we specifically want to watch.
So, that's so great.
Well, I want for Anthony. My husband's name is Anthony. I want for Anthony and I to be able to live our dreams, not have to worry about the clutter.
Yeah.
And, and he can do his musical thing and I can do my art thing, and we have the space so we're not tripping over each other. And it's just basically, I just want to have that. So I do have a lot of things on my someday maybe list.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do is I want to start going through that. But I can't do that until I've got my Command Central up and I take care of all the more urgent things.
Yeah, but you can see it, right?
Oh, I can see it. This is the first time ever that I can actually see it.
Oh.
My husband and I, we love learning new things. He's constantly educating himself on different areas, and I do it too. Like not the same areas as him all the time, but and I'm always doing like online courses and things, and I just for pleasure. It's not at this point it's not so that I can get a new career, but it's just for pleasure. And I want to do that more too, and I want to have a time. I'm teaching myself French. I live in Canada. I do not speak French. I'm teaching myself French.
I love this. You're so awesome. Well, and I get so excited. I mean, hearing all these things you want to do and the things that you love and the things that you want to bring back that you maybe haven't done for a while. There are so many people who don't even know how to think, a week into the future because the present feels so overwhelming that there's just so much clutter, so much stuff. They don't even want to dream because they're just afraid they're going to set themselves up for failure. What would you say to someone who's in that place right now, who's listening to this because they want to hear a real person, who's going through the same thing that they went through or what they want to go through, but they're wondering like, I don't know if it's going to work for me. I have too much clutter. I'm not an organized person. I just don't know if there's dreams ahead of me. Like, what would you say to that person?
I would say take a deep breath and just jump in and do it. I was there. I was that person for a long time. And, I always waiting for, wait till this happens and wait till that happens. You stop waiting. Start living your life. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You just jump into something else. What's the worst that could happen? and list all the bad things. I think, okay, none of them are that bad. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
And that means a lot coming from you, Anna, because you were at a point where you told us you were kind of near death. Like your health was so poor that you could have died. So you've already been to that point where life, that really was probably the worst thing that could happen, is that you would just be gone, that you wouldn't even have the opportunity to be here. But now you've come back and you're thriving. Right?
I'm thriving. I have such a blessed life. I have a wonderful husband, a wonderful son. Okay, so I've got piles of stuff. But you know what? I have good friends. I've got, and I've got a bit of ambition.
A lot, I think.
Okay, I've got a lot of ambition. Yeah. But none of this happened until more recent, until I realized the death thing. The fact that I almost died made me realize that I had a limited amount of time left.
Yeah.
And made me sad that I hadn't started sooner. So I think if you're in that position and you're scared, you know what? Push past the fear. Just push past that fear and just go for it. And if it works, hooray for you. And if it doesn't work, tweak it a little bit, see if that works. If that doesn't work, tweak it a little bit more. If you find that, you know what, it's not going to work no matter what, then find something else that sparks joy in you.
Yeah,
you know?
but don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope. There is so much wonderful things in this world. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of nasty things, but you can, just ignore that for now.
Yeah, just find the good.
All the good things in the world and all the wonderful things and the people who love you and care for you. They're going to be there for you. And it's just don't give up. Don't give up, because tomorrow is going to be a better day. And I have discovered this. I've discovered, even when I'm at my lowest point and I just feel like, what's the use? Maybe it'd be better life would be better without me. And that the next day I wake up and I feel, okay, this is okay. And I've got all these wonderful blessings in my life. And if you have to, keep a blessings journal. I don't do that myself, but I know it works for some of my friends, where they write down all the good things that happened every day. And whenever they're really down, they go back and they look at that. There's so much positivity in this world. And I think sometimes you hear a lot of the negativity because that's what makes good news, I suppose. But,
right.
But there is, for all the negative things out there, there's an equal amount of positive, if not more. So you have to keep that in mind.
Anna, I think I want to just rewind that and play it over and over and over again. I can just listen to that each morning. You're so inspiring.
I didn't bring religion into it, but if you have that, go for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't usually, I don't discuss it publicly because it's a personal thing.
I totally understand that. And at Learn to Become, we acknowledge the presence of a higher power. However someone wants to define that. We recognize people have different ways to define that. But I think as you go through life and the more experience you have, the more you realize there's a higher power out there. And there's something that's lifting you and supporting you and encouraging you. And just as I'm watching you and listening to what you're saying right now, as you were speaking about your friends and the good people around you and all that support, I'm just watching this open up even more in your life, where you're becoming more of that support. Because as you get rid of the clutter, as you get your goals, more streamlined and defined, and you're building your command central and you're seeing that this path is actually going to open up, now you have more energy to give, and you have more wisdom to give to your friends, more emotional support. You have more emotional space where you can enjoy your spouse and enjoy your son. I mean, it has this ripple effect, right?
It does. It really does. And the thing too is, like, I was so excited about this, but I didn't want to explain to my husband too much, because I was afraid he was going to roll his eyes and say, "Oh no, not another one of these things that you're going to be excited about and not follow through on."
Okay, so you didn't tell him.
I didn't tell him, but he's noticed a difference. So now I've told him.
Okay,
and he's like, he's really happy for me, and I'm actually thinking that once I've got everything more or less where I want it to be, I'm going to invite my son over to see it, and possibly share this with him so that he can do it for his life, because he runs his own business. He's a professional musician, and he teaches, and he's doing his PhD, and he's just this,
a lot on his plate too.
He's a lot on his plate, and I think it would be nice. This would be a good system for him as well, because his brain works sort of like mine.
Okay, awesome.
So I'll be sharing that with him, but I wanted to prove to myself first that it works.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it does. Then I can show it to him, because again, both of my son and husband have seen me try over and over again and fail. It didn't, they weren't methods that worked well with the way I think and the way I function. But this method, I think anybody can do this one if they just trust the system and follow along. And what I'm doing is, I'm if I need to tweak something here or there, I will. Like, for years, I tried using Trello. Mm-hmm. And you would think as an artist that I would love that visual moving things over. It doesn't work for me. Asana does. Asana works beautifully. And, it's just one of those things where you have to find what works for you, what makes sense for you.
Yes.
And you can still follow the system, but adding what makes sense. Like, I like everything to be color coded and have little icons, so I do that.
So awesome. Well, and it's true. And the thing is, what I love is that, I mean, I didn't invent all the parts of the system. Like, I learned from people like David Allen and the Fly Lady. Like, I've learned from a lot of people. What I feel like, as my unique contribution to the world is with this STEP program is just showing people, like you were saying, step by step, here's where you click, here's what you put here, here's what it could look like, here's what you could buy at the store, and just making it so simple where you don't have to try to figure out how to apply it. And you can, make tweaks or whatever as you want, but being able to bring it all together, it finally clicked for me. I mean, I stayed in my pajamas a full week when I figured out how to do this. I'm just going to build it. Once I could see the vision, like, I'm just feeding the kids cereal for dinner. I'm staying in my pajamas. Like, I've got to get to this point where my brain can relax. And when I finally got there, and it's been there now for more than 10 years, I'm realizing, like, okay, this does work. And I've watched thousands of people implement it too. I'm like, it works for them too. And it's because there have been giants who've gone before me, before us, who have figured out, here's what your brain needs. Here's what you need to do to be able to breathe and relax and enjoy your life while still getting things done. And I'm just kind of trying to make it more visual and step by step to take these awesome things people have realized and discovered and make it happen.
And that's exactly what you have done. You've taken these things that work and you've put it in a way that people can understand it. And I also like the fact that you and Eric do it differently, because that shows different ways of doing it. Like, he does the whole filing cabinet thing, and you've got everything out. I have my best friend. She and I have nothing in common except that we like each other. And
I love that. I love that so much. Sorry, keep going.
And she is one of these born organized people. Okay, she would put things in a filing cabinet and know exactly where to find it. I would be wandering around the house knowing that there's a filing cabinet in the other room and still not go in there and look at it. So she doesn't understand why I can't figure out where to put a piece of paper. Like, to her, it's like, I just don't understand that.
Well, that's what I've noticed too, is I have a lot of people who will come to me and say, I've asked my organized friends, hey, how do you do that? And they look at me like I'm from another planet, because it just came so natural to them. And I think that's why maybe for me it was a benefit growing up in a home full of piles, because I didn't grow up with that. I grew up moving piles in circles. That's all we did.
Yes.
And so for me to learn how to get out of that, I know what a huge transformation it was for my life, because all my organized friends who had really clean houses, and I didn't even know, I thought it was just magic. Like, oh no, I guess their house is just magic. My house isn't magic. And now I know how you can make your own magic, right?
They have a cleaning fairy. I've been waiting for my cleaning fairy for years.
Oh, I love this.
I also been waiting for the pill to make me lose weight for years, too.
The pill and the cleaning fairy. I know. Wouldn't that be fun? All of this stuff just happened. Well, Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. You have inspired me. I just feel so privileged to get to learn from you and be able to receive your enthusiasm. And thank you for sharing this with our community as well.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been my pleasure. And I'm so glad you're out there. I'm so glad we found each other.
Thank you. Have an amazing day. I hope that you loved today's episode. Seriously, when I got off the phone with her, I went up to Eric and just said, she is so darling. I loved hearing her story. I love hearing what she did, what she's doing, where she's going. And we've been connecting online, and I adore her. So I hope that you not only were able to appreciate Anna's story, but that you were able to pull out some really important lessons that can help you with your story and where you're moving forward. And if you are at any point in your life feeling helpless or hopeless or discouraged or thinking you're at rock bottom, you know what? There is hope available. We are thrilled to have you here with us at Learn, Do, Become. Again, learndobecome.com/episode 54 for episode 54 is the show notes page where you can get any links and ideas or summary or whatever you need from there, and go to our Step 25,000 Command Central Challenge page, learndobecome.com/step25K. Have an amazing day. Continue to architect your life of excellence. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.